Dr. Emma Chen had worked at Riverside Hospital for 6 months, but this was her first solo night shift in the old wing. The hospital had been built in 1923, and despite renovations to the main building, the East Wing remained largely untouched, a maze of outdated corridors and rooms that were rarely used except for overflow patients. Tonight, there was only one patient assigned to the East Wing, room 217, an elderly man named Joseph Crawford, recovering from pneumonia. Simple monitoring, nothing complicated. Emma arrived at 11 p.m., relieving Dr. Martinez, who seemed unusually eager to leave. "Everything's in the charts," Martinez said quickly, already putting on his coat. "Crawford's stable, vitals every 2 hours. Call if you need anything." "Wait," Emma said. "Is there something I should know about the East Wing?" Martinez paused at the door. "Just don't go into the rooms that are marked closed. Hospital policy. Some of them have structural issues." He left before Emma could ask anything else. Emma settled into the nurses' station at the center of the East Wing. The fluorescent lights flickered occasionally, casting unstable shadows down the long corridors that branched out in 3 directions. She could see room 217 from where she sat, the only door with light seeping beneath it. At 11:30 p.m., she decided to check on Mr. Crawford early. The walk down the corridor seemed longer than it should have been. Her footsteps echoed unnaturally. When she entered room 217, the old man was sleeping peacefully, his monitors beeping steadily. She checked his vitals, marked them in the chart, and returned to the station. At midnight, the lights in the north corridor went out. Emma grabbed her flashlight and walked toward the darkened hallway. She found the light switch and flipped it several times. Nothing. The bulbs must have blown. She'd call maintenance in the morning. As she turned to leave, she noticed something odd. One of the closed doors, room 203, was slightly ajar. She approached slowly, pushing the door open with her fingertips. The room was empty, as expected, but it was freezing inside. Her breath misted in the air. The window was closed. She checked the thermostat. It read 72 degrees, but the room felt like a walk-in freezer. Emma closed the door firmly and returned to the station, making a note to report the temperature issue. She tried to focus on paperwork, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. At 12:47 a.m., she heard it, a call button chiming from one of the rooms. She looked at the panel, room 208, one of the closed rooms. Emma stared at the blinking light. That was impossible. Closed rooms didn't have active call buttons. The systems were disconnected. She watched the light blink 3 times, then stop. Equipment malfunction, she told herself. Old building, old wiring. At 1:15 a.m., she went to check on Mr. Crawford again. He was awake this time, staring at the ceiling with wide, glassy eyes. "Mr. Crawford, are you all right?" "She's back," he whispered without looking at Emma. "Who's back?" "The nurse, the one who comes when it's quiet. She checks on all of us." His voice was distant, dreamlike. "She's wearing the old uniform, white dress, white cap, but her face, something's wrong with her face." Emma checked his medications. He wasn't on anything that should cause hallucinations. "Mr. Crawford, there's no other nurse here tonight. It's just me." "She just left," he insisted, finally turning to look at Emma. His eyes were filled with genuine fear. "She stood right where you're standing. She was smiling, but it wasn't right. Her smile was too wide, and her eyes were empty, just black holes." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. "You were dreaming. Try to get some rest." "Check the rooms," he said urgently, grabbing her wrist with surprising strength. She goes to all the rooms. She checks on everyone. That's what they say. That's what they all said before... Before what? But Mr. Crawford had closed his eyes, muttering incoherently. Emma returned to the station, unsettled. She pulled up the hospital's history on her computer. After some searching, she found an article from a local newspaper dated 1952. Tragedy at Riverside Hospital. Nurse Agnes Hartwell, 34, was found dead in the East Wing under suspicious conditions. Hospital officials claim it was an accident, but family members dispute this. Hartwell had worked the night shift alone for 3 years. Her body was discovered in room 208 by the morning staff. No official cause of death was ever released. Room 208, the room where the call button had activated. Emma's hands trembled as she kept reading. There were more articles. Over the decades, there had been unexplained deaths in the East Wing, always on night shifts, always when the wing was nearly empty. Patients dying of heart failure or respiratory distress, despite being stable hours before. Staff reporting strange occurrences, sightings of a nurse that wasn't on the roster. The most recent article was from 5 years ago. A nurse had quit after one night shift, claiming she'd seen a woman in an old-fashioned uniform standing over a patient. When she approached, the figure vanished, and the patient was found dead moments later. Emma stood up abruptly. This was ridiculous. Ghost stories, hospital urban legends, every old building had them. At 2:30 a.m., the call button chimed again, room 212 this time, another closed room. Then room 205, room 219, room 203, all the closed rooms lighting up in sequence as if someone was walking down the corridor pressing each button. Emma's heart raced. She grabbed her phone to call security, but there was no signal. She tried the desk phone. Dead. The line was completely silent. The lights in the east corridor began to flicker, then one by one they went out, darkness spreading towards her like a wave. Emma grabbed her flashlight and ran to room 217. She had to get Mr. Crawford and leave the wing. As she ran, she heard footsteps behind her, not her own. These were slower, more deliberate, the soft squeak of rubber-soled shoes on linoleum. She burst into room 217 and stopped. Mr. Crawford was sitting up in bed, but he wasn't alone. Standing beside him, with her back to Emma, was a figure in a white nurse's uniform, the old-fashioned kind, with a cap pinned to dark hair. The woman was checking Mr. Crawford's IV line with methodical precision. "Excuse me," Emma said, her voice shaking. "Who are you?" The figure's head tilted slightly but didn't turn around. Mr. Crawford's eyes were wide with terror, his mouth moving but no sound coming out. "I asked who you are," Emma repeated, stepping closer. Slowly, impossibly slowly, the figure began to turn. Emma's flashlight beam caught the uniform first, pristine white, but wrong somehow, too white, too bright, as if it was glowing. Then she saw the face. It was a woman's face, but the features were blurred like an old photograph left in water. Where the eyes should have been, there were just dark, empty sockets. And the mouth was stretched impossibly wide in a smile that revealed too many teeth, too sharp, arranged in rows like a shark. The thing that had been Nurse Hartwell spoke in a voice like rustling paper. "Time for vital signs." Emma stumbled backward. The creature moved towards her with unnatural, jerking movements, like a film skipping frames. One moment it was by the bed, the next it was halfway across the room, then it was right in front of her. Emma ran. She sprinted down the corridor, her flashlight beam bouncing wildly. Behind her, she heard that terrible squeaking of shoes, keeping pace effortlessly. She tried the stairwell door, locked, the elevator not working. She was trapped in the east wing. Emma ducked into one of the open rooms and hid in the bathroom, pressing herself against the wall, holding her breath. She could hear the footsteps in the hallway, moving slowly, searching. Squeak, pause, squeak, pause. The footsteps stopped outside the room. Emma's heart hammered so hard she thought it would give her away. Through the crack in the bathroom, she could see the hospital room. The lights flickered on briefly, and in that moment she saw her reflection in the darkened window. But there were two reflections. One was her, the other was standing directly behind her. Emma spun around, but the bathroom was empty. She looked back at the window. The second